Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Lancaster City Information Model, using it within ArcGIS Pro.
Following on from our previous video about bringing that Lancaster City Information Model into ArcGIS City Engine, we'll now look at getting that same data into ArcGIS Pro. Of course, ArcGIS Pro is quite a different piece of software to City Engine in that you can do much more analysis and attribution here because it is a geographical information system. City Engine, on the other hand, is your go-to software if you want to add procedural models to the mix or export to a variety of third-party 3D modelling programs, and of course game engines like Unreal Engine and Unity. In this video, I will show you how to quickly download our Lancaster sim and load it into ArcGIS Pro. We'll also explore the data's attribution a little, for symbology purposes here, as well as show you how to make this data a scene layer package for quick display across the Esri platform. Firstly, download the LCIM file geodatabase files from the link shown here in the description below and on the tutorial page of our Book Companion website. Now, a quick reminder that if you are using this data publicly, to ensure it has proper attribution. It's free to use, it is open data, but please attribute it. In ArcGIS Pro, you will see I have created a folder called LCIM. Once created, you can hover your mouse over the folder and you will see a link to the new folder. Click on this and it will open the folder up in a file explorer. Now it's open, click on the Downloads folder and copy and paste or move the zip files into the LCIM folder. Extract or unzip all of them, and then back in ArcGIS Pro, right click on the LCIM folder and click refresh. You should now be able to browse the contents of the file geodatabases. Here you will see I've dragged over one of the LCIM datasets as a multi-patch layer into the 2D map. Multi-patch being the term used by Esri to describe 3D geometry feature layers. We've dragged it into a 2D map because why not? It makes for a compelling conventional map and looks good in certain mapping products. Not everything has to be 3D when it comes to information models. Now drag and drop a solar roof layer. This has some interesting attributes that we can symbolise the geometry by. You can see here I'm using the orientation to north attribute, but there are other attributes to look at as well. I recommend you experiment with them and see what works for your narrative. Okay, let us look at this data in 3D. It is 3D data after all. Go to the Insert tab and click New Map and choose New Local Scene. I recommend any analysis and visualization of 3D city data is done in a local scene. That doesn't mean you can't use global scene for visualization, but this is best used for perhaps larger coverage areas on the regional and national scale. Be patient here, as ArcGIS Pro likes to take its time displaying 3D data from a multi-patch layer. If you're unsure if anything is happening, you can see that spinning circle icon in the bottom right corner is showing us we need to wait a little longer. Now, a cool way to use this solar roof data with our 3D buildings is to display them together. However, you can see this flickering going on where surfaces are coincident. This is called Z-fighting, and to stop this, we do not have to edit any data. We can just apply a slight offset to the solar roof data, not in actual terms, but actually just for display purposes. To do this, you can right-click on the solar roof data and click Properties. Then click on Elevation and change the cartographic offset. Here I've changed it to 0.1. Click Apply and OK and view the results. Depending on your data, you might need to experiment, but this looks good to me. When I've been working through this tutorial, you'll have noticed that displaying layers can be time consuming, especially when using these 3D multi-patch datasets. Whilst I recommend you do all edits and analysis with this data type, at some point you might want to fix or make it permanent for use on ArcGIS Online or in ArcGIS Earth, or perhaps still in ArcGIS Pro. Esri has a relatively new format for speeding the display of 3D data called a scene layer package, based on something called the i3S standard, which is an OGC standard. Don't worry about that, but creating scene layer packages of your 3D data basically optimizes them for very fast viewing, and this is fantastic for very large data sets. So how do we make these scene layer packages? Go to our geoprocessing pane and type in scene layer, and find the tool Create 3D Object Scene Layer Content, not the Create Building Scene Layer Content. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but this tool is for BIM data, not citywide building models. If you're unsure, pause the video. Choose your layer you want to make a scene layer package in the Input Dataset field, and ensure you've given it an output file name under the Output Scene Layer Package heading. The coordinate system will default to WGS 1984, as primarily Esri assumes you'll want this in a global scene. You can choose different, but I wouldn't. Just be sure that it gets the right geographic transformation for your data. Now click Run and wait. You don't have to here, but I will. Create a new global scene. Go to the Insert tab and click New Map and select New Global Scene. Once loaded, find your newly created scene layer package in the Contents pane. You might sometimes have to right-click and select Refresh in the folder to see the scene layer package, and drag and drop this file into the scene, and note how quickly it displays compared to the original multi-patch layer. Now, you can change the symbology of this data type here, but you cannot edit it. Either the geometry or attribute table. You can't edit either. So do not delete the original data, please don't. Esri does have a plan to allow us to edit this data, but it's not yet implemented. That's it for this session. I hope you learned something new. This is part of a series of tutorials associated with Paul Curitan and mine's new book, Geodesign, Urban Digital Twins and Futures. Details of our book and the companion website are in the description below.
Thanks for watching that tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.